It's Astrology Rose. I think it needs to sound like a shitty intro, like a funny shitty intro.
Hi everyone and welcome back to Astrology Roast. My name is Karen.
My name is Etai and we're back.
We are back recording live in our respective countries. I am in my friend's spare room. They've got moving boxes all around me. They've generously donated the space because I am losing the plot because I've been living with my parents this week. So apologies if I sound a bit lost or existential or in despair or triggered, sensitive, moody, regressed, childlike.
Wow.
Yeah, all of those things. So that was me from about the womb until, 18, 15, whatever it was.
Only a
so
Gemini.
That's the Karen that you'll get today. So hi, everyone. Sorry.
Well, first of all, well done for using so many adjectives. I think it's a very Gemini thing, and it's very enriching as well to remember all these words that, people can use. We reduce our language to like one or two words, but not if you're a Gemini.
No, and, I am a Gemini, but, my family of origin do love language and words. And whilst I've been living there for about a day now, because I'm moving into a new place in a couple of days, which is exciting. But whilst I've been living there, all I can hear are my parents in their bedroom, like 1 a.m, 4 p.m. on a weekday, like all the time. They're both in their bedroom, screaming at each other, talking loudly and watching the television on full volume. So I think, the television was really the third parent in the house. So I don't know if it's a Gemini thing that I have language, but it raised me probably more than my actual parents.
It sounds like the television was the primary parent in the house.
The television was such a primary parent, such a loving caregiver. But yeah, so that's where the words come from. I mean, they also get 5 different newspapers delivered to them. There's also a layer of dust that I discovered on the bed that I'm sleeping in between the mattress and the blanket. So there was dust inside the bed and chunks of dust. And I didn't understand. I was like, how did this even happen? But you learn not to ask questions, you learn to just accept and to practice those mindfulness skills, and develop that quiet rage and sadness. And, just go to your friend's house to record your podcast as a 31-year-old. Anyway.
I think that sadly, or maybe not sadly, but I feel like it's something that so many people can relate to. And I am right now sitting in my sister's bedroom.
Oh.
And if I sound a bit distracted, it's because her bedroom is filled with like furry jackets and hats and pictures of her and her friends having fun with like little quotes under it.
I feel like that's you. If you were a woman, like that would be your bedroom. If you allowed yourself to go full out.
Yeah, not only if I was a woman, but only if I was the gay I always wanted to be.
Yeah, yes.
That would have been my sister, which is nice because every now and then I can, wear one of those furry jackets and snap a picture and put it on Instagram. So that's...
Now, can I ask a question? Because both of us are, intermittently staying at our family's place and yearning for the next step, which is coming soon. But do you feel when you're in your family's home, and I guess it might be different for you because your mother lives not in the same neighborhood where you grew up because of the disengagement. But do you feel the sense of yearning and desire that you felt as a teenager or a young person? Because I certainly feel when I drive my car into the street of my family home and when I walk up the same stairs, I just remember the deep yearning for freedom or to look differently or for someone to notice you or to be understood, or to
Definitely.
just be anywhere else but where you are, or to have a driving license so you can skip town and find a new family. So I feel that deeply.
I definitely masturbate more when I'm here. Like that's
Yes, and
not
look,
a question.
no, but I was thinking about that. I'm like, this is this area where you probably first, did that, or the same room where you remember all those longings and desires and like hidden John Marsden books that had some, erotic content in them. So there's so much history there. I mean, you've spoken a lot about watching Sex and the City from behind the couch, but it's kind of that same feeling.
It's true, and there's some parts that are really nice about that, like accessing your past self, but also I feel like it almost makes you feel like no matter how much work you've done on yourself and in your life, the second you step into your parents' home, you're like, you go back 2,000 steps. It's almost like you step back into your past body and your past feelings. You just want to scream and say, I know you hate me. Let me get that nose job that I want to get. And, why don't you let me do that? I will always be ugly. And it's just sad.
It's so sad. Yeah, it brings it all up, and I feel like there's those subtle qualities that only you understand that are incredibly sad. So for me, hearing the TV constantly on 24 hours a day and my parents screaming loudly at each other. And then my sister told me as well, she goes, oh, just letting you know that sometimes mum and dad scream in the mornings at 8 a.m. because my grandmother, who's in an old age home, she often calls them in the morning and she can't hear very well and she's quite anxious. And so she calls them like 10 times a day and they have to scream at her to tell her that everything's okay and she's okay. So it was like, oh, here's this heads up, you're going to hear screaming in the morning. And I was like, okay, that's all right, that's normal. But it's these subtle things, like all the newspapers being delivered and there's pot plants everywhere. There's moldy food in the fridge. There's Passover food. I mean, I think Passover was like 6 months ago or 3 months ago, and my parents still have like old moldy things from Pesach in the fridge. And then there's also this dysregulated cat that they've had for 10 years that has a terrible personality, and the cat has been, at me all the time when I've been there. So it's just, the whole thing just feels super grim, and I can't put my finger on why. But anyway, enough about me. So it has been Leo season. Happy birthday to all the beautiful, glamorous, expressive, artistic, sorry, I'm being a Gemini and talking with big words, but happy birthday to all the Leos out there, and happy new moon to everyone else out there. It was an enormous, big new moon, and Etai, did you get to celebrate it in style in Israel, Tel Aviv?
Oh, I sure did. Well, I feel like, they say about the Leo that it's ruled by the sun, and, their biggest challenge is just like the sun to not burn earth into ashes. Like it's all about the balance with the heat. And I feel like many Leos, in their go-to is to either shine too bright and burn themselves and everyone around them, or to be afraid of that and be like, I'm not a regular Leo. I'm a cool Leo, like a shy Leo. We have shy Leos. We know them. But I feel like this season, I do feel like I got a bit burnt by the Leo sun. It's really been and it's not over. There's been a party after
it's just
party.
the beginning.
Yes, it's been hectic, and I'm really exhausted.
Yeah. Wow, I'm glad that you said that, because it has felt exhausting. And because Leos do love the limelight and they love people to share love with them and talk about how much they're loved, when all of them are having their birthdays at the same time, it becomes very challenging for people because you probably know, more than one Leo, and you need to really expend a lot of love and attention to all of them all the time and over multiple days. Like, they never just have one birthday event that's a couple of hours long. It is a fiesta. It's a week-long spiritual celebration that is endless and very expensive often as well. So it's really hard on the bank balance too.
And let's not forget that after Leo season comes Virgo season, and Virgo season is also very demanding. Maybe not in the style of birthday, like they're not going to take you out on a crazy night out adventure, but they will definitely sit at their party and wait for your face to show up to tick you off as a good friend.
Yes, so, like if you can't show up, you may as well get a life-size blow-up doll of yourself and send it there because you need to fucking show up to Virgos because they will keep those receipts, as we've often said. So it's a stressful 2 months, and we're coming out of Cancer season, which, look, whatever Leo season has been, I'm very grateful that we're no longer in that pool of emotion. I felt like I was surfing a constant wave of sadness, crashing into things and drowning deeply in emotion. I thought maybe I'd write a good song out of it. Maybe I would write a poem. Nothing happened. Just felt down. So Leo season's been fun and the parties are fun, and, I'm happy to be a bit exhausted if the payoff is not being in Cancer season, although sorry, Cancerians, because you are amazing and you do give a lot of love. So it's been a big one. Now, did you have any Leo birthdays of special note?
Yeah.
Etai?
So, as was spoken on this podcast before, it's not a secret that we are both huge Jennifer Lopez fans. And we spoke about how she chose to celebrate her 50th birthday touring around the world on a tour that's called It's My Party. And I was lucky enough to pay 700 shekels to go into the mosh pit and participate in her birthday party. It was literally 3 days ago. And just for context, like 700 shekels would be around 200 US dollars, maybe 250 Australian dollars. Yeah, it ain't cheap. But what I got out of it was, will last for years, because Jennifer Lopez is the ultimate Leo. Like, I'm sorry, I really think she's the essence of the sign.
Oh, she's what happens when a Leo fully expresses itself and does not hold back.
Yep. Her hair, like, start from her hair, her body, her charisma, the way she just, like, commands 50,000 audience members, her videos, her ability to genuinely see herself as an actress, as a singer, as a dancer,
as a producer.
A producer. And the show starts with a video of, like, a montage. You know how much we love it. A montage of her, like, her whole life. And it goes back and forth. Like, it's not like a linear video. It's like the frames are from 1997 and then from 2018 and her kids, and she put all of her exes in the video. Like, she doesn't.
Wow.
There's no ugly video. There's no ugly pictures of her, but there's exes. It's like I'm willing to show some things, but I'm not willing to show other things.
She's just such an impressive woman.
She really is.
I've got a lot to say, and even so, I feel like in her Leo essence, her most recent song, Limitless, is truly quite a spectacular song. So it's actually quite an average song when you listen to it. But the way that she speaks about the song Limitless it's as if she has been the first person to think of / consider feminism, and that maybe men and women are not equal in society. She talks about it like, you know, I just want women to be able to do everything. And, you know, it's almost as if she's the first person to consider these things and then to make it all about her. But she still is promoting a very valuable idea that women can be limitless.
And she proves it on stage because she just, you know, first of all, she's just so... Remember when we went to our other Leo friend birthday, and she said, "This is my spirit animal. It's myself." So J-Lo, it's almost, she says like, "I am your spirit animal." Like she's announcing that she's everyone's, you know, spirit animal and totem, and whatever you choose to identify with, whatever your term is. And she just so confident the way she gets on stage, and she says, which was also funny because she goes, "I know you got the invitation," and then someone next to me screamed in Hebrew, "I paid 700 shekels for your invitation." It's like, I know you got your invitation for my birth, but I don't know if you know it. And then she pauses and she goes, "It's my birthday," and everyone just like cheering for her. And
that's the thing. If you don't know it's a Leo's birthday, they sure as fuck are going to tell you and make you pay for it. And if anyone's been following J-Lo on Instagram, which I really hope you are for your sake, she's really loving the Holy Land. She does not give any fucks about the political context of being in Israel. She's just happy to be there. She's at the Western Wall. She's with her children. And she also displays vulnerability in a very Leo fashion. Like Jennifer Lopez loves to have a hot person cry. Like she'll often put a little video of her crying and being vulnerable, and then her husband A-Rod, Anthony Rodriguez, comforting her. I thought they already had that anyway. But she loves getting comforted by his big Leo hands, and you know, they kind of are a perfect fit for one another, because even when they're emotional or there's vulnerability, they still know how to get the perfect Instagram angle and how to look hot and sexy when crying. I mean, no one looks hot when they cry. Like, certainly Cancerians do not. But
no, but J-Lo does.
She looks hot.
Yeah, it was just like, you know, me and my friends were watching her show and enjoying every second of it, but every 2 minutes we would be like, "Oh my God, she's such a Leo. She's such a Leo." She would literally, her outfit was it was a leotard, and one leg was completely out and one leg was covered, and then she goes, "This is my birthday suit," and she turns around and she points at her butt and she goes, "You only get one cheek tonight." and then she was like twerking, and everyone was like cheering her on, and I was like, this is the ultimate Leo twerking in front of 50,000 people, you know, showing off their butt.
I think J-Lo, she's such a celebrity, but the point about Leos is that even if they didn't have 50,000 people watching them, they would still be in front of their mirror screaming, you know, "This is my birthday suit," and twerking in front of the mirror. They are celebrities to an audience of one, or to an audience of 1 million. They are theatrical and fun and vivacious and excellent storytellers, and exhausting and can be demanding and loving.
When we left the concert, I went to the concert with a Gemini friend and a Leo friend. And the Leo friend, when we left the concert, said, "Okay, guys, now that you've seen this is the reference that I want for my birthday."
Wow. They know what they want, but they really enjoy it. They won't pretend like, "Oh, don't focus on me." They love it. They're like, "No, focus on me. Let's spend time together. It's fun." And I love that about them. You never have a dull moment. You never feel bored.
Never. I thought maybe it's important for me to ask you, because I heard about a tragedy that happened in Australia recently, and I'm sure other people maybe have heard it too, and it does sound like something that is difficult to live with. but apparently they took out the like counts on your Instagram posts. Like you can't
Oh my God.
you can't see how many likes posts get.
Yeah, look,
That's
thank you for
terrifying.
acknowledging that. Thank you for acknowledging my loss. That was huge. I was in the process of stalking someone on Instagram, and that's when I found out. I was like, hang on, something is terribly, terribly wrong. And I deleted it and I added it again, and I went into this spiral. And then I read online that, yeah, Instagram has made this crazy Mercury Retrograde-esque decision to take away likes on Instagram. Like, how else are we meant to get social validation from people that we don't know very well in the world if I can't see that they've liked my pictures? I mean, most of my pictures are of mugs and cups that I find at work, but I don't know. It's been very confusing. It's really changed my Instagram habits. So I'm not stalking people as much because I can't tell how popular their posts have been. I'm not posting as much. There is a workaround. So if anyone wants a way to work around it in Australia, I have found a way to do that. DM me if you want to know how to do it. It's not that difficult. You still obviously can see who is watching your stories. So I reckon that story content will go up quite a bit. Because there's that component. We want to know what people are watching and consuming when we utilize social media. And it's like, I don't know. I don't understand the logic behind it. I really, really don't. And I hope that they see the error of their ways, to be honest. But
it's true.
For now, we suffer.
For now, as Lindsay Lohan once tweeted, at Instagram, please contact me. She did that earlier this year, I think, when Instagram crashed, or maybe she had a thing with her Instagram. I don't remember exactly, but she just tweeted, at Instagram, please contact me. And it was the funniest tweet I've ever seen, because it's like, what do you expect to happen next?
That's like when you see people who write to airlines, Dear Tiger Airways, I'm really disappointed that my flight was delayed for half an hour. Please refund me immediately. Like, I feel like Lindsay Lohan would be doing that. Like, she'd be like, at MTV, I just found out that I've been axed. You know, Lindsay Lohan's beach club has been axed. Please DM me immediately. Like, no one cares, Lindsay. I mean, I love her, but, you know, she needs to make way for the new and upcoming celebrities. Speaking of new and upcoming celebrities, another Leo who Etai, both you and I love, Demi Lovato, she got a very, very Leo tattoo for her birthday month. And she tattooed on one of her fingers the words, me. Just me.
Yeah.
To remind herself that she is herself. I don't know. Like, I think when you look at your fingers, you are aware that you exist when you look at your hands. So I don't know what it's about, but I just think that's great.
I think it's just an answer to many questions that a Leo might ask. Like, who is the most important person in my life? Who is the most important person in the world? Who do I care about the most? Who do I, work for to thrive and succeed? And all of these questions have one definitive answer. Me. Even though I will say, because I can feel the Leos leaving the conversations, this conversation. I often, after I roast the Leos, I also say, let's not forget, like the sun, they give us life, they nurture, they love, and we complain, but we love being around Leos. We love being at a Leo birthday party. We love feeling that warm heat. And we know that Leos are the best when they save others. So doctors, psychologists, but maybe less, maybe more like maybe coachers, not psychologists in the sense of like, I'll listen to you, more psychologists in the sense of like, I'll scream instructions at you.
Yes.
But they're really good at those jobs that, the ER and helping people and being there for others. Barack Obama and others that they give you hope. So Leos, that was for you.
That was for you. Yes, the beautiful quote from my Leo friend as well was, all I want in life is to be, within a 3-meter radius of everyone I love, and they are telling me that they love me, and I'm telling them that I love them. And I think that
That's
really
so
sums it
nice.
up perfectly. I'm sure I've mangled her quote and haven't gotten the right words, but they are just balls of love. If
They
you're
are.
feeling a bit sensitive or quiet or introverted, potentially not the best time to be surrounded by Leo energy. Having said that, it does take you out with its claws from the depths of whatever you're experiencing or whichever family home you might be finding yourself in, covered in dust. So,
Well,
yeah, it's
I
a
want
good
to-
month.
It is a good month. Just stay safe and stay hydrated, I want to also reopen a storyline from our podcast that we really haven't spoken about in the past few episodes, and that's my Aquarius father. I don't think we mentioned him for a while. Maybe
Well,
it's a
he
good sign.
disappeared, so that's his thing.
When?
So
When I was 3, he emotionally disappeared.
that's
But
it.
for those of you who joined us lately or who forgot what's happening because it's not, you really shouldn't remember because it's not your dad or your life, so it's okay if you don't care. So my dad got married to a woman that has the same birthday as my mom. That woman also has 8 kids. And they're all very religious, like my family. And I was lucky enough to meet one of them 2 days ago.
I think
And
that's
it
really
was-
nice that you're actually meeting them, because I felt like it was like maybe your dad had pressed Control Alt Delete and just reset his life with
Oh, he
this,
definitely did that.
instant family, instant grandchildren, instant new wife, new Capricorn wife, and it was like, Etai who? Like, who is this
Exactly.
child of mine? But it sounds like you're actually being integrated into his new life.
I don't know. I really felt like I'm the kid, like the messed up child that comes to visit from Tel Aviv, the city of sin.
Yeah.
But it's because they're all religious. No one is gay. They're all married. They all have kids. So it really is that Control Alt Delete. And my dad is obviously an Aquarius, so there's nothing they would like more to stay in their own lives while everything else is different, and like they don't even need to go the extra mile to come up with a new name and a new identity. So I was sitting with the sister, like I went to their house and I was trying to guess her star sign, and she kept talking about global warming and how she really wants to live in in an environmental village or whatever it's called, and how she doesn't use any plastic. And I was like, cool, Pisces, easy.
Yes.
But she did have that, that edge, that little spice, you can say, into her personality. So at one stage I was like, what's your sign? And then she goes, oh my God, do you believe in that? But like in the most like, I can't believe you believe in that, you silly little gay boy. And I was like, yes. I do.
Yes, and the alternative being to believe in the Jewish people are the chosen
God?
people. And we received the 10 Commandments billions of years ago in the desert. And now, anyway.
Yeah, I was like, let's not start judging each other because I'm pretty sure I have more ammunition. Anyway, so as you know, like obviously it was a good start. We're off to a good start with my dad's new family. So I'm like, oh, you're a Sagittarius. Sorry, because I thought Pisces, but then I was like, no, Sagittarius, they do care about the world, but also they're the sign that will like laugh at your face for believing in something. So I go, oh, Sagittarius. And then she goes, no, I'm an Aries. just like
God.
me. And I'm like, cool, I can still see that, another rude side. But then she goes, my rising sign is Pisces. And I was like, oh, so I did get that. You are a Pisces. You are a Pisces in the way people get you, but you're an Aries in the way that you're like rude and annoying. And then she goes, there was another friend there that was a true Pisces, and she said about how at work someone keeps using plastic cups. So she told them off. She was like, why don't you use regular cups? And the other person was like, no, because I have to wash it. So the Pisces friend told that person, oh, so you're just being lazy. And I was like, good on you for telling her that, she should know that she's just being lazy. And my new sister goes, yes, I don't think we need to educate people or like to preach to them. And I'm like, okay. So I was like, shut up. And then her next story was about how every time she has dinner with all of her friends and they use plastic, she refuses to use plastic and she brings her own cutlery. And me and my Pisces friend was like looking at each other. And the second we got out of the house and we were in a safe distance, we were like, really? You don't think you should educate and preach to people, but you're telling us off? Anyway, as you can see, I'm very affected by that meeting.
Yeah, and I want to ask you, Ty, do you call her my new sister to her face? And do you call your dad's wife my new mum? Or
oh my God.
What do you call them? Or is it, how when people have parents or stepdad, or that they say, like they call them by their name, and it's weird.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, that's just Mark, or that's Jack.
Well,
like, do you call her
name?
I
need to introduce her to anyone because I don't think I will ever see her outside of my dad's house.
But what about when it's your big gay wedding, and you have the best, huge It's My Party tour of Israel, and it's your wedding, and everyone comes for this big wedding, and like you'll eventually have to introduce her to someone.
Well, maybe I'll just have them all wear shirts, like matching shirts, and I'll be like, the people in the green shirts are like my step family, and that's like as an overall. I don't know if they'll come. But
look, it's early days. Like, take some time. I mean, the relationship, it's early days, and also planning your wedding, it's early days for that as well.
So 1 out of 8 I met. Oh, also, I just wanted to say one more thing. I had this kind of like little fantasy because we are 4 siblings and we all have different signs. And I was like, oh my God, 8 more siblings. What if they all have different signs and we're all going to be like the 12 signs of the zodiac, because even though I'm very defiant to the idea of being their family, I also, I'm also an optimistic Aries, and I'm also like, I love a good story. What if I could use them for saying that I'm one of 12 and we all have different signs. But now that she's an Aries, it all went to shit.
It all went to shit, as most things often do.
Again, my dad ruins my life once again. Well, that was me. That was my rant. I'm sorry.
Wow. No, look, it has been an interesting time, family of origin. New families as well. Like, it's hard enough to have one family, let alone a whole entire new enormous half family that you're getting to know.
Yes.
I love, though, how you've positioned yourself as, the gay boy from Tel Aviv, this city of sin, that you waltz in with all your progressive ideas and your Jennifer Lopez, videos and your Pisces friend, and you've got a whole lot of things going on, and you just snap your fingers and then waltz back to Sodom and Gomorrah where you live.
What can I do?
So I love it. It's fun. You're really showing them that they
I always
suck.
wanted to leave this little town, and make something of myself, and I'm still working on that.
This is starting to sound like a Jennifer Lopez film. I always wanted to leave town and make it big in the big city.
I always wanted to be a good cop. Yeah. Anyway, Karen, you had a good idea to, we spoke a lot on this podcast about wherever you go, you always take yourself with you. And we often refer to that in the past lives, in your characteristics, your traumas, your, I don't know, abstract ideas. But
wow, I'm a real ball of fun to be around, aren't I?
You sure are. But also, we don't talk about wherever you go, you take yourself, wherever you go, you take yourself, your physical self with you. And in astrology, the signs refer to your body as well. Like every star sign has a body, an area in your body that you are connected to. And that area could be literally like, if we take Aries, for example, their area is the head. So it could either mean your physical head, like being prone to headaches or to head-related disease and migraines and eye problems and stuff like that. But also, metaphorically, the head leading, being the first, like being headstrong, stuff like that. So we thought it could be cool to, give our listeners a little bit of a rundown of what star sign and each, areas of your body that it relates to. And then people can check and see if it fits, or maybe astrology isn't even real.
And I think, again, we often like to give people new frameworks to live by.
Yes.
And I think now we're crossing into that medical information / advice territory. And I like that. I like that we're pushing the boundaries a bit and taking some risks, because I think that, not everyone always has time to go to your GP or your doctor to find out, why do I have a headache? Why is my butt sore? Why are my feet itchy? Whatever it may be. And so this is just another framework to think of the different organs or parts of the body that we have. And also thinking about whatever your sun sign is, or, if you're a stellium, if you have a strong representation of a certain sign in your chart. So, and you might find that you have correlating medical issues with a particular part of your body. Is that a coincidence? Maybe, maybe not. You can decide, but we're going to give you the information so you can ignore medical advice from your doctors and do things your own way. So Etai, tell us the 12 signs. What do they represent?
So I just spoke about Aries.
What parts of the body are they?
Yes, Aries, the head, and I explained a little bit why. Taurus, if I'll give you a list of names of people, and you tell me what they all have in common. Adele, Sam Smith, Kehlani, Janet Jackson, Kelly Clarkson, Enrique Iglesias, Cher. What do you think they all have in common?
Of course, Enrique
Barbara
Iglesias
Streisand.
is a Taurus. Barbara
Streisand. What do they all have in common?
Well, it's got to be that amazing voice.
That amazing voice that comes from the throat and the vocal cords, and that's the Taurus area of your body. And I feel like this list is just a proof in and of itself.
Yes.
And we talk about them being ruled by Venus. So lovely voice. I think it makes a lot
and
of
Venus
sense.
has a lot to do with the arts and expression.
Which
so
we'll
that
get
does make
to,
a lot of sense.
And we will see that again when we get to Libra. But right now we're on our lovely Geminis. What does the Gemini area of the body care? And I think you know that one.
Well, I think it's the nervous system, isn't it? Is that correct?
Yes. Well, it is the arms, the lungs, the hands, and the nervous system. Why would
the
that
arms,
be?
the lungs, the hands, and the nervous system. So if you ever feel like you're talking to a Gemini and they're flailing their arms everywhere, like you might get whacked in the face because they're talking at you so rapidly and they're super heightened and they just won't shut up. Well, now you know why. It's because we are actually governed by our arms and our whole entire nervous system.
Yeah.
It's no coincidence that it's called the nervous system. It makes a heap of sense. That's why Geminis can be pretty fucking frenetic and hectic and quick.
And sometimes anxious. And a good reference to that, and I'm sorry to bring it up because he's the obvious and always people bring him up, but Donald Trump speaks a lot with his hands.
Yes, he puts his little finger out. He puts his finger out.
He puts his little finger out, and my favorite line is, "I got one hand in my pocket, and the other one is giving a high five," which is an Alanis Morissette line that is really the life of a Gemini.
Oh my God! And Jewel, who is a folk singer, who is also one of my favorite Geminis, her famous song is "Hands." My hands are small, I know, but they're not yours. They are my own.
And I'm gonna flail them around as much as I want.
Does Kanye West or Prince have any hand/nervous system related lyrics? I'll have to have a look.
Oh, I'm sure. Well, Kanye West has a song, "I'm Lost in the World," which is a very Gemini anxious song, which I relate to. Cancer. Cancer's area of the body is the chest, the breast, and the stomach. And before you think, oh, the breast, like the heart, because they're so sensitive, this is not the heart. It's the breast that gives life, milk, food to the baby. So it's basically the ultimate kind of like nurturing, act to nurture a baby from your own body. So that's a very Cancerian thing.
It feels exhausting just hearing that. Like I just think of someone who's like being of service and just giving and giving and giving.
Yeah, but it's also
need a bit of a break.
They need a break. But for us, it's like very comforting. Kind of like
beautiful.
Chest, like the image of a kid like laying on their mom or whatever. Now the Leos are the ones that got the heart. Obviously, they got the best part. So the heart, the spine, and the upper back, and that's the brave heart of the Leo. Sticking your chest out and being that welcoming, warm beings that they are. But
and that's why a broken-hearted Leo is heartbreaking to watch.
It's true.
Like they need to be in love all the time.
They need to be in love. They need to be loved, whatever it is. I think the next one is makes so much sense, and the Virgos are connected to the digestive system.
Yes, and my thoughts around the correlation between Virgos and people of the Jewish faith. I think that everyone that is Jewish is, a Virgo rising or Virgo moon, or there must be some Virgo in our charts. I'm a Virgo South Node, as you are as well, Etai. So I feel like, and for anyone that also knows anyone from the Jewish community, they do suffer disproportionately from some of the nervous conditions, including irritable bowel syndrome, gluten intolerance, lactose intolerance, general intolerance,
critical,
anxiety,
critical, and annoying.
We are the chosen people, as they say.
We were chosen to complain about everything and have weird bowels.
So if you're a Virgo, you might want to see a naturopath. You might want to get some Chinese medicine done to you because, your digestion might be a bit overworked. Having said that, you might have a fantastic digestion system. So who knows?
Yeah, and also the connection of, the Virgo being the sign that is the analytical sign. The sign that looks at everything and, picks and put things in the right place. And that's literally the digestive system. So that's cool. Libras, back to Venus. So their areas are the kidneys, the skin, and the buttocks, which is very fitting, if you ask me.
Yes. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's hot. That's a pretty hot mixture. And we all know that kidneys are such crucial parts of the body. They help you
Yeah, what
feel
do they do?
balanced. Don't they take all the toxic stuff and get rid of it? Or is that the liver? I think that's the liver. What do the kidneys do?
Both.
I think
I
it's
don't know,
very
but I do
important.
know
All I
that-
know is you need to give your kidney to a family member if ever they need it. Like, that's an important
All I
thing that
ever
all
know-
families have to do.
All I know about kidneys is that Selena Gomez had a kidney surgery. That's the only time I heard the word kidney in my entire
Wow.
life. So
And is she a Libra? No.
she's a Cancer.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Who knew?
It is about balance. It is about balance.
Wait, and
butts,
what do you know about the buttocks? What about the butt, Etai?
Well, I do know a little bit about a butt. First of all, I do have a butt. And I use it every now and then for, the things that we all do. And I think the butt is a very important. I can talk a lot. I think the butt is been, claimed by different people. Gay people think that they're the only ones that need to have pleasure from butts, but then other people think that if they use their butt for pleasure, then they become gay. And then other people feel like they have to give their butt because that's what they're expected. I think it really is a topic that we don't talk about enough, but that's not for today.
It is. It's really woefully overlooked in the media. There aren't any documentaries featuring at, film festivals about the butts and their position in society. It's, I think back in ancient Greece, butts were revered and respected and talked about, and we've gone back into the cave and we're not talking about butts. Look, it does seem, though, that butts are back in fashion, so maybe Librans are secretly happy about that. I don't know.
I hope so, but one of my favorite rumors growing up was one of them that Jennifer Lopez has an alien in her butt. That was a legit rumor that went around. And also that she had insurance for her butt, which I think was true. I don't know. Well, I think everything was true from that time, but that she had insurance for her butt for a couple $1 million. I don't know. Well, she's not a Libra, but she definitely knows the worth of a good butt.
She does.
Scorpio onwards. Scorpio, take a guess. What can I say?
Well, the Scorpio is the bits.
The bits.
The important
sexual
bits.
organs.
The sexual bits.
Well, you can say, of course they are, that's so fun. But also, Scorpios are most likely to suffer from chronic UTIs, yeast infections, and bacterial infections. So,
and where did you get that evidence? Where did you find that out?
It's elitedaily.com.
Okay.
The magazine.
Who are sponsoring this podcast, by the way. Just joking.
Yeah.
No one sponsors this podcast. We do.
Nobody. Yeah. But they have those sexual organs that they love, and I really think we don't need to say anything else other than that.
Yes.
Sagittarius area of the body is also beautifully related to their symbol and their traits, and that is the hips, the thighs, and the liver. And I think the horse, how do you call this, centaur, that the Sagittarius need to run, to move, to always be in movement and not to sit still. It's beautiful to see that as a metaphor in their body. What's the liver?
Yeah,
what's that?
My mind just goes straight to every Jewish gathering at my grandmother's house when she would serve liver. And I was always kind of equally disgusted and intrigued by the taste of this meaty, weird, rich food that was on the table. So that's what I think of. But actually, now that I reflect on it, liver is the part of our body that gets rid of all the toxins I believe,
Okay.
not the kidneys. And also liver is also something that you might need to give to a family member as well.
Yes, of course. You need
So-
to give everything you have to a family member, your personality,
Well, yes, you
your
can't
body,
give your nervous system, you can't
your
give your
time.
digestive system or your hands to your family, but you can give your
but-
liver or your kidneys.
I know, but I think that metaphorically, you need to give yourself to a member of your family for whatever
Yes.
they need, you know?
Yes.
Otherwise, you failed as a family member. At least that's what I was
And
raised to
you have
believe.
now 8 new siblings that you might need to give your liver or your kidneys to. So you better
Take
hold on to it
everything.
tight.
Take everything you need. Just know that whatever body part you're taking, it had gay sex and someone licked it. So,
You might need to donate your butt, you know,
well, that's my best asset.
asset.
I will take. I will give everything before I'll be a walking butt before I give my butt. Anyway, moving on to Capricorns. Capricorns are in. They have the joints and the skeletal system. So the skeleton, obviously,
Yes.
very easy. They are.
Yes, which I think, again, my brain goes straight to what a skeleton looks like in scary movies. And whenever you've been next to a Capricorn that's usually frowning at you, telling you everything you're doing wrong with your life, and just looking at you in a disappointed fashion about why you're so impractical and so late all the time, and, you know, why aren't you studying this or working here or doing that? And that I just think of a scary skeleton, just like moving their body around in the cold. So yes, Capricorn, skeleton,
Yeah.
joints. Yep.
Also, the one that kind of like move everything else together, the one that the foundation, that's very
Yes.
goaty.
Yeah.
The goat and the mountain.
Yes.
Moving on to Aquarius, and they're in charge of the ankles and the circulatory system. What the hell is that?
I don't know what it is, but I know it makes sense that we wouldn't know what the Aquarius aspect
It's true.
is. It's probably
That's
too
so true.
complex or too lofty for us to quite, us dum-dums to understand. If anyone that's
Yeah.
listening to this is like a medical professional or a scientific person, obviously me and Etai are not.
Before you click the
please-
report button,
Yeah, let us
Please
know.
explain.
Please explain what the circulatory system is. I'd love to hear from you.
but the ankles element of that is that kind of the thing that grounds the Aquarian from, they like to be up in the air and in different universes. So the ankles are there to kind of like connect the head to the ground. And that's in
Yes.
everyone's body, but in their bodies more so.
Yeah, and they
And we
can
are
get
at
quite
the-
swollen. They can get very swollen as you age. And then you need to get those very comfortable shoes and socks called hush puppies. So you kind of can comfortably walk around. When you see some people that are a bit older in those really comfortable shoes, and I look at them with
Yeah.
envy, and I just think, my ankles sometimes do feel a bit swollen or chunky, and, I'd love to also have a comfortable shoe to rest in.
Well,
But that's a dream for another day.
That's definitely within reach for you. So I think you
Yeah.
should just get them.
I
But,
don't want to
why-
ask
why
for
make-
too much.
It's true. Pisces are the feet and the lymphatic system.
Yes.
Yes, and they, is the lymphatic system your immunity?
Yeah, well, it is like when you're sick, you might feel that your lymph nodes are swollen. So if you feel behind your chin, we have lymph nodes all throughout the body, but the ones that I am aware of, again, if anyone's a doctor or knows anything about this stuff, they're probably just nodding, like shaking their head in disappointment. But we have them under our armpits as well. We have them under our chin, all around our body, and they're doing very important things. You don't need to know how they're doing it or what they're doing. If they do get stressed or when we're sick, they do seem to get swollen. same with Pisces, like when they do get emotional or they're in distress or the world is in despair, you can see that they are deeply depressed, they get swollen, their faces puff up, and you might not be able to recognize them anymore. So now that you know, you can diagnose it, you can go through the warning signs, you can understand the triggers, and you can contact appropriate support to help your Pisces friends with their lymphatic system. So all of this is just information just to help you diagnose the symptoms and make the right steps, and obviously speak to your medical practitioner if there's any kind of curly questions that we can't answer. Yeah.
It also says here that they suffer from foot fungus, which makes me think,
Ew.
am I a Pisces?
Oh gosh. Sorry, I just really yucked people's yum by saying ooh. Like, I take that back. Like, some people might have foot fungus and they live a really happy, healthy, positive life, and that's not an issue for them. And I just, that's cool with me, and
personally,
live and let live.
On my feet. I do want to say we spoke so much here about, first of all, we took those little summaries from Elite Daily, as I mentioned, .com. It's very short, and there's obviously so much more to say. But we spoke about the body, and we didn't even mention how, the relationship with the body in general for people. And I think if, as being the podcast that we are, we do love to dig deep and talk about body. I don't know, how do you call it? Because it's body love, it's body hate, whatever it is. I know a lot of the times say, negative things about my body and my relationship with my body. But if we already bring up the topic, then maybe it's a good reminder. Whatever star sign you are, we're all on this journey to love our heads and our chests and our hearts and our kidneys and all of these things. And we had Lauren on our podcast, which is an advocate. And we had Ali, and we had so many people that they, they speak and they write amazing things. And I know Ali Garrett wrote some amazing articles about that. So if you're interested, you can look it up on Google, like Ali Garrett article, whatever, it will be there. And Lauren has her Instagram, which is Miss Inside and Out, which also she talks, about it on her stories and on her posts. And I think those two people that I read and watched that helped me think differently about my body.
Yeah, and we've also spoken a lot about Amber Wagner, Just Living Baby, who is on Instagram, but I think she's also up there with some of my most influential, body positive influencers on the internet. So she's wonderful to follow. She's really motivational. She does little podcasts called Motivational Monday, and she really promotes that as well. But, you've mentioned Ali, you mentioned Lauren's Instagram, Miss Inside and Out, and they're all wonderful spaces to talk about body neutrality, body love. Some people are more body hate, and that's where you're at, and that's fine. I personally, have never thought about some of those aspects of my body, including the lymphatic system or the circulatory system or toe fungus, and shedding a bit of love and positivity to those lesser known qualities that we don't talk about enough.
So true.
And the butt, as you mentioned, Etai, we should have probably PhDs and theses and documentaries and communities set up around worshipping and valuing and understanding and demystifying the butt. That's something as well to think about.
I don't know if I'm not going to tell the story right now, but I'm going to leave our listeners with a question, whether I told the story about how I found this thing in my butt and what happened next with the doctor. I don't think I did, but if I did, please DM and say I did, and I won't tell the story. And if I didn't, then I might tell it in our next episode, because I think it's one of the scariest stories and the funniest stories. And I'll just give you buzzwords and then you'll know. So I found something in my butt, and then I had an interaction with a crazy doctor, and then something happened on the internet.
Wow.
Please let me know. Please let me know, because I want to, I know we repeat some things, but I don't want to repeat everything.
Yeah, and I also, like, Etai, before you do share that story, if you haven't already, and I can't remember, just think about it, because it's your best, funniest story. So once that's on Astrology Roast, like, how are you going to whip that out when you're on a date or when you are in new groups of friends? Like, that's your story where your whole eyes light up and you sit up straight and you get excited and you gather everyone around and you're laughing, and it's your favorite story to tell. So, I think it's great to share that with Astrology Roast listeners, because, they are the best. But I'm just letting you know, like, that's your story. That's your thing.
My motto is podcast first.
Yeah. I think that's a beautiful motto.
And I'm going to share that.
My motto is podcast only. No one else.
Only.
If you want to know anything about me or where I live or what I'm doing or who I'm dating, you need to be listening to this podcast. Otherwise, you don't know me.
Yes. So listen, stay tuned, and come back. Thank you for listening to Astrology Roast.
Holy moly.